He dies on a Thursday. That is the part nobody tells you about the end of the world. It comes on a Thursday, when the sky is a flat gray ceiling and the wind tastes like copper and iron, and the person you would have died for is standing on the other side of a door she has locked from the inside. Damian Cole pressed his palm flat against the vault door. The metal was so cold it burned. 14 centimeters of reinforced steel between him and everything he had built, everything he had prepared, everything that was supposed to be theirs. His fingernails had split at the curvature of the handle. He could not feel his feet. The first glacial storm of the true sequence was 47 minutes old, and the temperature was dropping at a rate the weather models had called impossible. He remembered screaming her name. He remembered the lights in the shelter windows going dark one by one because she had ordered them dark. So he could not see in, so the others could not see his silhouette outside, standing there freezing. He remembered the silence more than anything. Then nothing. Then a Thursday. Again. Same flat sky. Same copper taste in the wind. But the storm is 7 days away. The first warning signal is a soft chime on his phone. A government alert rated green. Advisory level. Nothing to worry about. Standard preparedness reminder. Nobody around him on the street even glances at their screen. A woman 2 meters ahead is arguing about a restaurant reservation. A teenager films himself near the bus shelter. The world is loud and warm and completely unaware of what is coming. Damian Cole stands on the pavement outside his apartment building and stares at his hands. He is alive. He is whole. He has 7 days. And this time, the door stays open for no one. The system wakes up the same way it did the first time. A cold blue interface that slides across his vision like a film over still water. Uninvited, clinical, indifferent to the fact that he is shaking. Not from cold. From something else. The blue text reads in tape. System, Assessment in progress. Candidate. Cole Damon. Classification. Pending. He knows what comes next. He saw it before. The Global Awakener Registry. The ranking algorithms. The tier assignments that turned ordinary people into weapons or cattle. He knows what the system is going to call him. He knows the word that is going to appear in white letters on that blue background. Horde system. Rank. F. Classification. Non-combat. Utility assessment. Negligible. Last time, he stared at that word for 20 minutes in the lobby of a government assessment center, while everyone around him received combat ratings and elemental affinities and ranked buffs, while a C-rank Awakener 3 chairs down wept with relief, and a woman in a yellow coat was immediately escorted away as S-rank enhancement. Damian folded the paper into quarters and put it in his pocket and thought, at least I have Lydia. This time he reads the classification screen and he smiles. Not a warm smile, not relief. Something older and colder than either. Negligible. He accepts the system. The interface clicks into place like a key into a lock. Damian feels it settle into the architecture of his perception, a persistent presence at the edge of his awareness, like a second set of eyes that never blink. He blinks, and the inventory manifest opens. A vast, silent space dimensionally detached from physical reality, accessible through will alone. Storage capacity, unlimited. Item degradation rate inside storage, 0. Weight burden when carrying, 0. Detection radius for proximate supply caches, currently 15 meters, scaling with level. He stands on the pavement. He opens his storage. He puts his phone inside it. He takes it back out. He does it again. Faster, then faster. He is grinning now, and he does not care who sees it. 7 days. The world ends in 7 days. And for the first time in his second life, Damian Cole is not afraid. He moves. The first stop is the pharmacy 3 blocks east, the one with the slow-turning security camera and the nervous night manager who always stacks surplus inventory in the back because the storage room coding never made it to head office systems. Damian knows this because he spent 3 months renovating the adjacent space. He pays 1,200 euros of non-prescription pharmaceuticals with a card held at 0 balance for exactly this kind of emergency. Then he visits the warehouse district. He does not run. Running attracts attention. He walks like a man with a list. Memorized, cross-referenced across 7 days of future memory. He knows which warehouses are understaffed on a Thursday afternoon. He knows which loading bays have cameras pointed at the sky because a contractor cut corners on the mounting brackets. He knows where the industrial supply depot on Venn Street keeps its overflow generator stock in an unlocked annex because the annex was built after the fire code inspection. He stores a generator, then 3 more. The system chirps. Item stored, level progress, 2%. He stores 12 coils of industrial heating cable, level progress, 6%. He stores a pallet of water purification tablets and 400 meters of reinforced drainage hose and a crate of surgical-grade adhesive and 2 portable arc welders still in manufacturer sealing. and a rack of industrial shelving units, and a drum of diesel, and the system does not slow down. The system does not complain. The system receives everything he gives it with the flat, impartial patience of something that was built for exactly this and has been waiting. Level progress, 24%. By 8 o'clock in the evening, Damian is sitting in his apartment with a cup of tea cooling on the table beside him. The apartment is bare. The walls are bare. He owns almost nothing here that is not stored inside a system that weighs nothing and occupies no space. He has consumed the better part of an afternoon hoarding the material skeleton of an end-of-world survival fortress. And to every person he passed on the street today, he looked like a man doing errands. He opens his contact list. He finds Lydia's name. He stares at it for a long time. Then he closes the contact list without touching it. Not yet. Not like before. He spent 5 months of the first timeline watching her, trusting her, being the soft and available and transparent version of himself. And she took the shelter he built and handed it to someone with a better rank. He is not angry. That is the strangest part. He expected anger, expected the grief to surface now that he had a face and a name to attach it to. Instead, there is only clarity. Cold, architectural clarity. Like standing on a rooftop and seeing the city grid for the first time, where the roads actually go, where the structure is sound and where it will fail. He knows where she will fail. He lets her live her life for now. The second day is faster. Damian has a destination, a derelict industrial complex 17 kilometers from the city center, in a dead-end commercial zone where the municipality stopped approving new permits 2 years ago. He surveyed it during the Venn Street contract. 4 buildings, interconnected, concrete and steel, built for a manufacturing operation that went bankrupt. No active utilities, no security. Listed for redevelopment in a queue that moves 3 meters per decade. It has 3 things that matter: structural integrity for heavy loads, southern exposure for passive solar in winter, and a deep basement designed for temperature-controlled storage. It is the best fortress in a 40-kilometer radius. He knows this because he spent the last 18 months of his first life looking. He gets there before sunrise. He walks the perimeter. He walks the interior. The system's detection radius has already upgraded. He can feel the empty spaces radiating absence the way a fire radiates heat. He notes collapsed sections, compromised stairwells, a basement entrance needing a new load-bearing column. He pulls tools from his storage, tools collected yesterday like a man with a shopping list written in future ink, and he begins, not to build, not yet, to assess. He marks load points with chalk. He measures. He sketches a floor plan. By midday, the industrial complex has a blueprint for its reinvention. By late afternoon, Damian has stored the first 6 structural columns he needs, salvaged from a demolition site on Crane Road, where a 4-story building came down this morning, and the contractor's crew went for a 3-hour lunch. Horde system level up. Crank level 3. New ability unlocked. Supply sense. Passive detection of nearby supplies enhanced to 80-meter radius. Quality tier automatically assessed. High quality items highlighted in blue. Critical supply items pulsed in gold. He stands in the empty basement of his fortress, and the world lights up in colors no one else can see. Gold pulse 30 meters northeast. A sealed wall cavity in the adjacent building containing a commercial first aid kit and 4 emergency flares, overlooked by whoever last occupied this space. He stores them without touching the wall. Blue highlight 200 meters. A commercial grade water filtration unit. Abandoned, still functional. He makes a note. He works until the sky turns amber. He does not call Lydia. He does not call Garrett. On the 3rd day, the government advisory upgrades from green to yellow. Not a significant bump. Yellow means prepare, not panic. City officials give a press conference in which a meteorologist with tired eyes explains that the glacial event projections have widened in scope and duration. Citizens are advised to have a 3-day emergency supply prepared. Reporters ask about the Awakener response framework. The officials use the word coordinated 3 times without saying anything with it. Damian watches the press conference on a screen in a hardware store while filling his storage with enough PVC pipe to run heating lines through an entire industrial floor. Level progress, 61%. The store is chaotic. People who were calm yesterday are not calm today. The yellow advisory lands in crowds with a specific texture, not panic, but the urgency of people who realize they have been procrastinating. Damian moves through the chaos like a man wading a shallow river, unhurried, precise. He fills his storage with insulation foam, thermal barrier sheeting, LED grow light arrays, seed packets from the gardening section that no one else is thinking about because they are thinking about bottled water and tinned beans. He is thinking about the year after. That is the difference. The people around him are thinking about 3 days. He turns into the next aisle and almost walks directly into Elena Park. She is reaching for the last industrial cable spool on the shelf. He sees her hand close around it, and in his memory, the first timeline's memory, this is the moment he never had. He was 3 blocks away on this morning. He never met Elena Park until 6 weeks into the apocalypse, when she appeared at Vance's compound with a hand-built thermal suit and a negotiation proposal. Vance laughed at her, and the combat awakeners turned her away. She walked back into the ice. Damian watched from a window and did nothing. He owes her something for that. He looks at her now, mid-30s, compact, wearing a jacket reinforced with extra thermal lining she added herself, a notepad in her left hand with a handwritten supply list in cramped, precise script. Her eyes move across the shelf with the same quality of attention he recognizes in himself. Systematic, future-looking. She notices him looking. "I was here first," she says, cautious. He steps back. "Take it." She does not move. "You were looking for this specifically." "I can find another. The 3 other locations in this district are already cleaned out. I checked this morning." He looks at her again. She has a list. She reinforced her jacket herself. She mapped the district. "I know where there is a bonded storage facility on Rennick Avenue with 3 pallets of commercial electrical cable tagged for a canceled construction contract," he says. The bonding fee lapses in 48 hours and the yard manager leaves at 4. A beat of silence. "Why are you telling me that?" "Because you look like someone who plans ahead." She watches him, measuring. Then she puts the cable spool in her bag. "Name?" "Elena." She does not offer a hand. "If you are wrong about Rennick Avenue, this conversation never happened. I am not wrong. He is not." He leaves her in the aisle and continues his sweep. He does not let himself think about the fact that if he had met her in the first timeline, he might have made very different decisions about who to trust. Day 4. The government advisory is orange. The word Awakener is now in every headline. The global registry is crashing under the load of new signups. Combat class Awakeners appear on the news in tactical gear, talking about perimeter defense and resource allocation as if they invented logistics. 3 different private militias announced the formation of Awakener response units. A celebrity with an A-rank elemental affinity starts a live stream from a personal compound in the mountains and gets 4 million concurrent viewers in 6 hours. Damian registers his system under a false identity. F-rank storage. He pays with a prepaid card at a public terminal. The registration officer types without looking up. Combat rating? None. Utility rating? Negligible. She stamps the form and tells him to report to his nearest community shelter coordinator. He thanks her and walks out into orange alert daylight. The fortress construction begins in earnest on day 4. Manifest, his level 5 ability, unlocked this morning, changes everything. It does what no one who rated his system F-rank anticipated. It allows Damian to materialize stored items with precision placement. Not just pull them from storage and drop them, place them. Slot a column into a pre-measured socket. Lay a floor panel with millimeter accuracy. Run cable through a conduit by manifesting the cable already threaded. He stands in the basement and builds. He is not a large man. He is not an S-rank combat awakener with superhuman strength. He is a civil engineer with a system everyone laughed at and a memory that spans 2 lifetimes. The basement takes 6 hours. Heating lines, manifested into place. Insulation barrier on every wall, sealed with polymer adhesive, no gaps. 6 grow light rigs on articulated ceiling mounts, calibrated to the wavelength mix that maximizes photosynthetic yield in the absence of sunlight. A water filtration and recirculation system plumbed into a harvested underground cistern. 6 months of food stores stacked and categorized with the systematic precision of someone who has spent 18 months acquiring and cataloging supplies in a previous life. He surfaces from the basement at midnight and sits on a concrete step and eats a cold protein bar and looks at the sky. The stars are out. The air is sharp and clean the way it gets when a pressure system is building from the north. In 5 days, that air will be the leading edge of something that makes the phrase cold snap feel quaint. In 5 days, the sky will be a moving wall of white. His phone vibrates. A message from Garrett Webb, his best friend for 11 years, the man who was drinking with Marcus Vance inside Damian's shelter on day 3 of the first apocalypse, while Damian knocked on the door from outside. Garrett, who texted, "I'm so sorry," repeatedly to a phone lying in the snow with a dead battery. He types, "Sure. Tomorrow afternoon? Garrett, perfect, see you at Mackey's." He puts his phone back in his pocket and goes back inside the fortress and builds until sunrise. Day 5 arrives with wind. Not the glacial wind, not yet. A precursor, a front coming down from the north that bends the trees on the highway median. strips a temporary banner from the facade of a government preparedness booth, and sends it spinning across an empty parking lot. The city is changing texture. Shops are closing early. The queues outside supermarkets have been there since before the doors opened. The government advisory is red now, and the radio is playing an emergency broadcast loop. Damian does not go to any shelter intake points. He is at the fortress, building the outer wall. The manifest ability at level 7 allows him to materialize structures with precision and scale that borders on architectural magic. Not magic, engineering. He knows how these walls need to be built because he built a shelter before, with love in his chest like a stone. Now he builds with nothing in his chest except intent. The wall goes up in 2 hours. Perimeter, 3 meters high, reinforced with steel mesh embedded in poured concrete that he manifested in its cured state, a system quirk that still makes him feel a flicker of something close to awe. Manifested items retain the exact material state they were in when stored. Concrete poured, cured, and stored at day 2 is manifested at day 5 as cured, load-bearing concrete. He has essentially eliminated 6 months of structural lead time. He is sealing the second gate section when he hears footsteps on gravel. Elena Park walks around the corner of the outer building with a tactical backpack on each shoulder and a look on her face like someone who has done math that ended with an answer she did not expect. "This is yours," she says. "It is not a question. You followed me. I tracked the supply routes I have been monitoring. They all converge here." She looks at the wall, then at the gate, then back at him. "You started building this before the Orange Advisory." "Yes." She sets down one of the backpacks. Rennick Avenue was real. The cable was there. A pause. "You could have gotten there first and never told me." "Yes." "Why didn't you?" He does not answer immediately. The wind picks up and the gray sky is pressing lower. "Because you checked that morning," he says. "You mapped the supply landscape alone, with no information, on no warning, with a handwritten list. You were 3 steps ahead of everyone around you, and nobody knew it." She looks at him for a long time. "What is your actual system?" she asks. "Storage. F rank." Storage does not build a fortress. He reaches into storage and manifests a wall section, a fully framed, insulated, steel-reinforced panel, 3 meters by 2, floating in position before he guides it into its socket with the precise patience of someone who has done this 17 times today. It settles into place with a sound like a quiet decision. Elena Park watches this. Her expression does not change dramatically. She absorbs it the way she absorbed everything else, systematically adding it to a model she has been building. "Show me inside," she says. He does. She walks every room in silence. The basement, the grow floor, the food stores, the medical bay, the generator room. She does not gasp. She does not tell him it is incredible or impossible. When she finishes the circuit, she stands in the central corridor with her backpack still on. "I have 4 people, an ER doctor, 2 energy specialists, and my sister. They are good. They will not take more than they give." That is not a negotiation. No, it is a disclosure. She meets his eyes directly. "I am not asking to move in. I am telling you what I bring so you can decide." He tells her yes. That evening, Garrett shows up at Mackey's bar, half empty, and orders 2 drinks and smiles at Damian across a sticky table like nothing in the world is ending. "You look good, man. Calm. Everyone else is losing their minds. I am prepared." Marcus Vance opened up his compound today. You hear about that? 50 spots. Combat-rated Awakeners, only for the inner tier, but he is accepting support class on merit basis. I put in a word. Damian drinks his coffee. "For yourself? For both of us." A quick smile, the kind that wants something. "Come on." A ranked combat Awakeners on every corridor, military-grade heating systems, whatever we have cobbled together cannot compete with that. What does he want in exchange? A pause. "Your engineering credentials." He needs someone to run structural assessments on the compound's expansion. Consulting work, room, and board covered. In the first timeline, Damian said yes to this. Not this early. This conversation happened on day 6, with more urgency after a minor storm had already hit. He said yes and spent 5 days running assessments for Marcus Vance in exchange for shelter access. And on day 11, Marcus revoked his access pass for taking too long on an assessment. And on day 12, Lydia did not answer her phone. And on day 17, Damian was outside the door. "No," Damian says now. Garrett blinks. "What? No." "Damian, I am serious. This is the actual apocalypse." Garrett, he sets his cup down. Quiet. Final. "You are a good person. Get into Marcus Vance's compound if you can. Take care of yourself." Garrett stares. "That is it? That is it." He pays for both drinks. He leaves. Walking back through near-empty streets, Damian feels the wind against his face and the faint prickle at the edge of his awareness, the Horde system pulsing. 2 gold signatures nearby, critical level supplies, a locked pharmacy, and a closed industrial catering depot. He takes a detour. He is still building. He is always still building. Day 6. The advisory has skipped to black, a tier nobody in peacetime expected to see, and the emergency broadcasts use evacuation and mandatory and shelter in place simultaneously, which would be funny if the temperature were not dropping at 3 degrees per hour. Damian is at the fortress. He has not slept in 20 hours. He is finishing the upper floor heating integration when his phone shows 6 missed calls from Lydia. He looks at the notifications. He goes back to threading heating cable through a manifested conduit. An hour later, a text. Damian, please pick up. The compound is at capacity, and I cannot get a hold of you. Are you somewhere safe? He reads it standing in the corridor, surrounded by walls he built for himself. His face is still. The concern reads real. He spent 5 months of a previous life trusting that concern. He knows how genuine it is and how genuinely it fails when the stakes get tall enough. He stores his phone in the Horde system. He finishes the heating integration by late afternoon. The fortress is, by the time the sun sets on day 6, the last sunset that will look like a normal sunset for a very long time, a functioning enclosed habitat rated for 130 people sustained over 24 months. Fully heated, air circulated, water filtered, food stocked, medically equipped, power independent. The outer walls are 3 meters of reinforced concrete. The gate is vault-grade steel, manifested as a single cast unit. Damian Cole, the man whose system the global registry rated F-rank negligible, has built the most prepared structure within 40 kilometers in less than 5 days. He retrieves his phone from storage. He texts Lydia, "I am safe." He puts his phone away again. Elena arrives that evening with her 4 people. Dr. Rio Adeyemi, a compact emergency physician, who looks at the medical bay with the focused relief of someone who has been worrying about supplies for days. Petra and Sam, renewable system specialists who immediately disappear into the generator room and do not come out for 2 hours. And Mira Park, Elena's younger sister, who is 17 and quiet, and asks Damian no questions and helps him stack the last of the seed inventory without being asked. They eat together. The table is borrowed, manifested from storage, 6 chairs and a folding surface, not pretty. The food is good, canned, protein-dense, adequately seasoned, because Damian spent an afternoon in his first life making a mental note that he would stock actual good food rather than punishment calorie blocks. He stocked actual good food. "You have been planning this for a while," Rio says. "Not an accusation. Yes. How? I knew what was coming." A pause. "The meteorological models were not accurate until day 3, Elena says. "I had different models." Nobody presses further. They eat in the sound of the wind, which is beginning to sound less like weather and more like intention. Day 7. The final storm. It arrives at 4:47 in the morning with a sound that Damian remembers from a lifetime he died inside. A sustained low register that is not wind so much as pressure, the voice of a mass of Arctic air descending on a city that was never designed for it. The temperature outside drops 31 degrees in 4 hours. The solar panels on the fortress roof ice over in the first 90 minutes. The backup generator kicks in without being asked. The heating lines in the walls hold steady at 19 degrees interior. Damian sits in the monitoring room and watches the city transform. The roads go white first. Then the lesser buildings begin to acquire the particular stillness of structures whose climate systems were not built for this. The government evacuation routes, which Damian knew would clog within 3 hours. A convoy of military vehicles stalls on the northern highway and is bypassed by nothing, because there is nothing moving. The fortress is warm. The first knock comes at 6:15 a.m. A family, 2 adults, 3 children, none of them awakened, traveling with a cart of supplies that will last 4 days. The children are wrapped in every layer they own. The parents hold it together with the brittle composure of people who have done so for too long. He opens the intercom. "I can offer you entry to an external annex. Heated to 10 degrees, limited supplies. In exchange for contribution, clearing ice from the solar array, water filtration rotation, any applicable skills." The father, "Yes, anything, please." Damian opens the outer annex gate, not the inner compound, not yet. He has a triage process, planned and systematic, because he has enough space and supplies to help more people than his current 6, but not infinitely many, and the wrong people inside the fortress is a risk he will not accept blindly. The annex is a controlled intake space. He built it for exactly this. More knocks follow. By midday, the annex has 23 people. Damian screens each entry, moves the verified to designated spaces, assigns roles based on ability declarations. Elena helps. She is good at it. Direct, unambiguous, efficient in a way that earns compliance rather than resentment. Dr. Adami sets up a triage station in the annex corridor. He begins processing injuries, frostbite predominantly, hypothermia in 2 cases, a broken wrist from a fall on ice. At 2:30 p.m., Garrett Webb appears at the outer gate. Damian sees him on the camera feed before he hears him on the intercom. Garrett's face is frostbitten at the cheeks and ears. His expensive ski trip jacket is inadequate in a way that is difficult to look at. His hands are inside his armpits, and his breath comes in rapid white clouds, and he is looking directly at the camera with an expression Damian has to take a moment to process. He wore that expression himself in a previous life. The intercom crackles. Garrett's voice, Marcus's compound went dark. The combat system failed. The heating guys could not hold it when the storm hit, and there was a fight over the generator protocols. Damian, I left. I had to leave. Please. Damian watches the feed. Garrett's hands have stopped moving. He keys the intercom. Garrett. Damian, thank God you are frostbitten at both hands and one ear. There is a medical station in the outer annex. When you enter, you go directly there. You do not move through the compound without escort. You follow the same intake process as everyone else. A silence. You are letting me in? I am triaging a frostbite case who needs medical attention. Moved quickly. He opens the outer annex gate. He watches Garrett move through it on camera, stumbling, one hand already useless. He feels something that is not satisfaction and is not relief. Something more like a closed account. He let Garrett in because Garrett is freezing. Garrett made his choices in the first timeline for reasons that were human and scared and insufficient, and Damian's response to that is not cruelty. But it is not warmth either. At 4 p.m., Commander Hessa Okafor arrives. She does not knock. She arrives with 8 armed personnel and a military-grade vehicle on wheel chains. Her voice carries the weight of someone who has spent years making people move. Attention, facility occupant. This is Commander Okafor of the National Awakener Emergency Response Command. You are requested to open this facility under Emergency Requisition Protocol 7, which grants authority to access private infrastructure in declared crisis zones. Please respond. Damian watches her on camera. Commander Okafor is a woman of about 50, with a shaved head and the posture of someone born with good posture and decades of reinforcement behind it. She is looking at the fortress with an expression that cycles between assessment and respect and the calculation of someone deciding how much force is appropriate. Her personnel spread around the perimeter. They are checking the wall thickness. One fires a scan device at the gate and looks at the readout and says something to the one next to him. They both look at the readout again. The wall is 3 meters of reinforced concrete. The gate is vault steel, single cast. A standard military breach kit would take 6 hours on this structure. Damian keys the external loudspeaker. Commander Okafor, I am aware of Protocol 7. This facility is operating under private humanitarian status. I have 41 civilians under care at present, including medical triage cases. I am not refusing civilian intake. I am refusing commandeering. We are not here to commandeer, we are here to coordinate. Those are different words for the same process in Protocol 7. Section 4, Subsection C. He manifests a second wall section along the outer perimeter, closing the gap in the northwest corner. It rises in silence, 3 meters of concrete settling into its socket. Okafor watches it appear. One of her personnel takes an involuntary step backward. The loudspeaker, you are the F-rank storage system. That is my registration, yes. Storage does not do that. I am aware the registry assessment is incomplete. Another pause. I would like to speak with you directly. No personnel, just a conversation. He considers. She is calculating. She is not stupid. She came with force, found it insufficient, and is switching frameworks. This is the kind of person who may be useful after the initial confrontation. There is an intercom panel at the eastern annex gate, he says. Come alone. She does. They talk for 40 minutes. He does not open the inner compound. He does not give inventory numbers. He does not agree to transfer command authority or resource access. He agrees to the following: a documented coordination channel, daily civilian intake at a number he determines based on capacity, and a shared communications protocol for survival-relevant information.
We've reached the end of Part 1. If you made it this far and enjoyed the story, go ahead and leave your like to support the channel. Don't forget to subscribe, comment Part 2 below so I can bring you the continuation. If we get more than 10 comments, I'll release the next part for you all. See you in the next video.